Welcome back to another installment of the Talent Sports Podcast. Today we have myself, Ryan, and Ben.
That picture is.
So we have a lot of happened in the NFL recently. Let's start off slow with the Calvin Ridley situation. Yeah. Baker, what's your take on this?
I find it I just think it's interesting. First of all, why would you bet on the Falcons? You're gonna lose anyway. And second of all, it's a little bit of a harsh punishment for that when Kareem Hunt got suspended 4 games or whatever. Ray Rice was suspended 2 games before it was changed to indefinite, and then he just never played again. But these are more severe offenses, and Calvin Ridley was suspended for betting 1.5K or whatever it was. And I don't know. I feel like that's just a little harsh, but that's just.
I agree it's a little harsh, but historically speaking, though, it's on par with what they've done in the past with gambling incidents. On that note, Aaron Rodgers back with the Packers. Massive? Not that massive. Makes room for Devontae Adams to stay.
I mean, what's happening with Jordan Love though? That's just really the question that gets opened up here, because he's not gonna want to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for 4 seasons, especially because he was drafted so high. He's not making any money right now, really, because he was drafted late first round. But he has the potential to be a good quarterback. There are definitely quarterbacks that are on teams that are less good than him. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. And I feel like they can get some value for him.
I just feel like Love doesn't really have a place in the Packers. There's definitely a couple teams that he could go to, especially on his rookie contract, such as the Colts, the Saints, Steelers. There's a lot of landing spots for him. I don't know what they do with him.
I could see him on. I could see Jordan Love on either the Panthers if they don't end up getting Garoppolo, or the Colts if they also don't end up getting Garoppolo. I know they're both going for him, but only one team can get him, so I feel like Jordan Love's a solid consolation prize.
Continuing on the topic of quarterbacks and teams that need him, Russell Wilson finally out of Seattle, got traded to Denver for a large deal, which included Seattle getting Drew Lock, Noah Fant, along with a couple picks and another player. Baker, what are your reaction to this trade, and how massive is this in the grand scheme of the AFC West now, with them having 4 competent quarterbacks?
My immediate reaction was that the Bengals are a Super Bowl contender, which I still think is possible, but they have a ridiculously challenging schedule playing in that crazy stacked AFC West division. But their defense is really good, and their defense usually let up I feel like every single game that they played last year was 17-16 final. And now with the addition of Russell Wilson, who is 10 times better than Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, they can definitely make a run, but I still think that just that division's going to eat itself alive, and that just leaves the Bills or I don't even know, the Colts maybe to be the winner of that conference.
Like I said, this is the complete opposite of what we saw from the NFC East a couple of years ago, where they were historically one of the worst divisions ever, and now you have this really stacked juggernaut of a division where realistically all of the teams can make the playoffs from that division. It's going to be very interesting to see how things unfold. Definitely a much harder road to the playoffs for Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes next year, but it's going to be an interesting division to watch.
And with this, out of all of these teams, I feel like the Chargers have the biggest advantage with Herbert still being on a rookie deal. If they want a chance to win this division, they have to go all in now and spend in free agency. They just need to make their roster as good as possible right now because of Herbert's low cap hit. compared to somebody like Mahomes, who's spending they're spending $50 million on him, and Wilson and Carr, who are both taking $30 million plus cap hits. Out of all these teams, I feel like the Chargers have the best odds to come out, especially if they spend this offseason with $50 million after giving $20 million to Mike Williams.
Mike Williams on a 3-year, $60 million deal. That's pretty affordable for them right now, and seeing as he's an integral part of their offense, really good signing in my opinion. They could easily make a run this year because of course, you said Herbert's smaller contract size, and I feel like they should mostly utilize that on defense, as I feel like their secondary could use a little more work. That D line's still pretty good, but still need to get a couple key pieces back there.
D line and linebackers just need the most help out of everything they have. Having one of the worst run defenses last year, that basically killed them, not being able to stop the run, especially seen in that end against the Raiders in OT. They called the timeout and immediately let up a 12-yard run, even after they put their run stuff unit on the field. You just can't allow that. So they need to spend on D tackle and linebacker just to improve that run defense as much as possible.
And on the topic of interior linemen, so obviously Jordan Davis had an unbelievable NFL combine, draft combine. What do we think? Where do we think we can see him going? And what does that mean for the rest of the defensive linemen in the draft?
I mean, this is a really stacked defense front seven draft with incredible linebacker depth and edge depth in this draft, and Jordan Davis, who is more of an interior lineman, but he could go top 10. He probably will go top 10. I don't think there is a team in the league that would not become better with his stature being on that team. But
Jordan Davis, just an incredibly raw defensive tackle. He's so talented in the run stuff, but as a pass rusher, he gives basically nothing except for a big body to take up, I think, one or two linemen.
Yeah, I think Yaffe said Evan Neal, which I didn't believe in, but it looks like it could come to fruition. What do you guys?
Evan Neal, incredible tackle prospect. I could see him going number one. I could see him going to the Jags. They really need to bolster the offensive line. They need to protect Trevor Lawrence. There's a lot of options that they can go with, Evan Neal being a really good one. Another landing spot for him could maybe be the Jets at pick 4, but he's not going to fall outside the top 5.
Evan Neal is a clear cut, in my opinion, to become a Jaguar. They need that offensive line help really badly, and their defensive line, as bad as it was last year, had its bright spots, including Josh Allen having a somewhat decent season. I feel like they could improve on that on the defensive line side more in free agency this year with holding a lot of cap space as per they normally do, and they should just utilize the first round and getting Evan Neal to help solidify the offensive line a little more and protect their young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence.
What is happening with Kayvon Thibodeau? I've seen his name thrown around in a lot of mock drafts recently. I've seen him all the way from 1 to out of the top 10. Like, what would be the main reason to not take him as high as he's been projected all season? Because he came in.
Yeah, he came in as the number one prospect.
Yeah, he came in as number one. He played really well at Oregon. Like, after the season, he was essentially, it was him and Aiden Hutchinson at 101. What happened?
It's people thinking. You know, the more you take to look at a prospect, the more you figure out their weaknesses. Kayvon Thibodeau, being an incredible edge rusher, is really valuable, but he offers nothing almost close to nothing in the run game, and he isn't a power rusher. You have to put him on one of the 2 edge spots, or he's just not going to give too much of an impact. Granted, when he is on the edge, he is an incredible athlete, really bendy, like Von Miller type of guy, but he doesn't offer as much in the run game as Aiden Hutchinson does. So there's definitely a reason to take him, but Aiden Hutchinson is a more complete defensive end.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think a name that's gone a little under the radar is David Ojabo, also from Michigan. I don't know where he could go, probably like mid first round, but he was that Michigan team doesn't make it as far as they do without David Ojabo opposite from Aiden Hutchinson. He played spectacularly against Ohio State, and I think he's been a little underrated in this draft process. He had a great combine, so I could see him being a steal of the first round.
Yeah, definitely a great athlete. Ran a 4.55 at the in the 40. Great athlete, but once again, just isn't the biggest body. So I mean, 6'4", 250. He lacks pro run stopping ability, which could definitely make him drop. That's why he's not like the top athletes like Aiden Hutchinson. But he's definitely a great edge threat. Definitely has 4.3 and 3.4 appeal. You can basically put him anywhere and he'll succeed, but that's why he's not at the top of the draft. Definitely an underrated guy. Definitely has weaknesses that he can work on.
Also, I was wondering what you guys thought about the receivers this year in the draft. Who do you think will be the first receiver taken? In my opinion, I think it'll be Garrett Wilson. I think everything I've seen from him, I've seen his film. I'm a fan of like Big Ten football. I just like how he played this season a little more than Olave, at least, especially after his 40-yard dash was a lot slower than people thought. But what about like Drake London has just absolutely flown up boards after the season. It's tough between those two, but I think those two have to be the first two taken. And I can't really see anything else happen.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson is probably the top receiver prospect, especially after Jameson Williams tore his ACL in the championship game. Before that, Jameson was definitely the top receiver prospect, but now Garrett Wilson being healthy definitely gives him upside. Drake London played really well, had a really good combine. Definitely some guys to look out for. Really underrated guy in my opinion, Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. 6'5", ran a 4.36, incredible athlete. I could see him as the next DK. Really good athlete, really big body. Polished, not the most polished route runner, but that's something you can work on. So I see this guy as being a sleeper.
There's definitely a lot of wide receivers in this class, and I feel like it's more of a day 2, day 3 type wide receiver class. A lot of these guys could easily fall to the lower picks, like day 2
disagree.
picks.
I cannot agree. I cannot get with that. There are potentially 5 or 6 receivers, or maybe even more, that can be taken on day 1, first round. Like you bring up guys like London, Wilson, Williams might even be taken first round. Jahan Dotson from Penn State, Chris Olave, Treylon Burks from Arkansas. All these players, George Pickens from Georgia. All these players are potentially first round receivers, and I think that this is an insane receiver class, and a lot of these guys would be tough to pass up on.
Yes, they get tough to pass up on, except they could all, in my opinion at least, they could all fall towards like the lower end of the draft into like the end of day 1 or beginning of day 2. But it is definitely a really good wide receiver draft class. Now I asked you guys about the linebackers of this draft. It seems like a really deep class.
Yeah, I mean, as a Patriots fan, I want to get Devin Lloyd at 21. I don't know how likely that is. I don't know how possible that could be, but I mean, he's just different. I think, in my opinion, I mean, I'd be happy with Dean. I think Nakobe Dean. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's a really smart player. He's a little short. He's a little small, but I don't know. He reminds me of Donta Hightower a little bit, so I think it'd be pretty good for the Patriots to get him. And also the linebacker from from Alabama. I forget his name off the top of my head. He ran a 4.44 40.
Christian Harris.
Yes, Christian Harris. He's fast enough to guard the running backs. He's big enough to stuff up the middle. So if the Patriots can end up with him, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, Pats have a lot of options this draft. Linebackers definitely a need with the departure of Kyle Van Noy and the aging of Dante Hightower. There's also definitely going to be a need at corner if JC leaves, which would be a worst case scenario. Not the best corner draft, but still definitely a lot of good options. Up high, there's guys like Ahmad Gardner and Derek Stingley. Kyle Hamilton, incredible safety prospect, in my opinion, the best player in this draft, but you don't draft a safety that high.
Second best player. Matt Araiza.
Other guys like Roger McCreary and Kyle Gordon, Andrew Booth, a bunch of other really good prospects, really athletic guys. Andrew Booth ran a 4.38. Top heavy, not really anybody at the bottom of the first, top of the second. Not many of those guys. So, you either got to trade up and grab a really good one or hope that you find a talent down bottom.
So I mentioned Matt Araiza. Is he a day 2 player? Is he that valuable? I mean, in my opinion, it's between him and Kyle Hamilton, the most valuable at their position in this draft. And that's saying something because Kyle Hamilton is special. But I mean, I saw him at the combine. I saw him kicking the ball from the 20, rolling it to the 1-yard line. He's something else. I could see just some contending team just using a 3rd round pick on him and just trying to turn him into the greatest special teams weapon in the history of the NFL.
He's not a day 2 talent. He's a day 3 talent. He's a punter. Punters do not get taken day 2. The earliest a punter or kicker gets taken is the 4th round, maybe the 5th round. But that's a really special case.
He is really special. He is that.
Except he's not gonna. Those are still day 3 picks. He's not gonna be taken day 2.
I mean, I feel like if you're I don't know, just the Bills, for example, you have a very well-rounded team, and you can take this weapon that can just change. Field position is a very important part of the game. Special teams is 1/3 of the game, as a lot of coaches like to say. And I think that he is valuable. People forget about special teams a lot, but if you can pin the other team, the opponent within their own 10 every time, even if you're at your 20-yard line, that's valuable. That's huge.
I was going to ask you right now, do you think this kid is going to be the punter of next punter Janikowski or something? Because he's not going to take him earlier than day 3.
He will instantly come in and be a top 5 punter in the league. I don't think that's really a debate. And I mean, unless you have Jake Bailey, then or Tommy Townsend, I don't even know if he's good. I just know his name. Then you're looking for Johnny Hecker. Then punting is important. You've seen these players. These players make way too much money. The punters usually stay on one team because they're that valuable. They don't want to get a new punter. It's annoying. You get this punter day 2, 3rd round, and you're set. You're set for 15 years down the future.
He's going day 4. Sorry to tell you, he's going day 4.
Day 4. How are you back 1 day now? How are you 1 day behind now?
Day 3, not day 4. I think that's a great segue into Carson Wentz going to Washington.
Heineke's better. I'm sorry. Heineke is better. What has Carson Wentz done in the last year and a half that has shown that he is not better? A year and a half since 2017 that has shown that he is not better. That he is better than Taylor Heineke.
I think they traded for him strictly on upside. You saw how he played in 2018, almost won MVP if he didn't tear his ACL. If you can get that version out of Carson Wentz, he's a top 10 quarterback. It's just a matter of getting that out of him. And I think the best way to describe Carson Wentz right now is scared.
It's such a bad.
Yeah. Doesn't want to play because he's scared of being hurt. Similar situation to like an Andrew Luck type of guy. They were both on the edge. Luck decided to retire after numerous injuries, and Carson Wentz has had a similar career arc. So if Washington can keep him safe and keep him protected, I don't see anything stopping Carson Wentz.
I do. And that is talent. No, not that. He has talent. He obviously has talent. But that is just I don't know. I just don't trust him. I mean, you brought up a lot of good points. He's scared. He doesn't have confidence. Like if they get a good O-line, but it's also easier said than done to get a good O-line, get a good team around him. I think that this experiment will fail, and the Cowboys will win the division for the next 5 years.
So there's been a lot of guys getting cut today. Or announced they're going to get cut. So we got Trey Flowers, Landon Collins, Roger Saffold. Of course, we got Bobby Wagner getting cut a couple of days ago. Do you guys think there are going to be other pretty bigger named players going to get cut? Or is it going to be it for the larger name players?
I think some teams that are in cap hell are definitely going to need to make some cuts that they don't want to make. The Saints are probably going to have to let go of a couple of guys, and they might have to cut somebody. Teams like the Cowboys stick out. There's been a lot of rumors about them cutting Amari Cooper and DeMarcus Lawrence. So I feel like a lot of names are going to be on the move, names that teams don't want to let go. But after all, it's a business, and you got to watch the cap. So a couple of teams are going to need to make a couple of tough decisions. I'm going to highlight the Cowboys.
I think Cole Beasley is a name that could be cut. I've heard that he wants out of. I mean, there's been rumors that he's asked for a trade out of Buffalo, wherever he is. I saw this on Twitter that they're most likely not going to trade him because, I mean, what are they going to get for a 32-year-old Cole Beasley? And he'll probably just be cut.
Yeah, you're right. Who honestly would want a 32-year-old slot receiver who's only going to get slower and less agile at this point with their age? But speaking of receivers, New England has had an interest of letting Nelson Aguilar go on a trade or try to sign a big guy. Who do you guys think is going to be the next wide receiver one for the Patriots? Is it on the team right now, or are they going to go out and get somebody in the draft or free?
I don't think he's on the team. But I don't know who specifically. They need a deep threat. I mean, I know he might not be available, but if the Seahawks are making moves, if we could try to pull off a trade for Tyler Lockett, I feel like he would fit perfectly. Just that deep threat role who actually catches the ball, unlike Nelson Aguilar. So I don't know if I could see that happening, but that's ideal from a Patriots fan perspective. Also, Jacoby Myers is amazing. So just get him the football and just get out the way. Draft Kyle Phillips or something. I don't know.
Tyler Lockett, an incredible athlete, especially at his age and the way he's still playing. Really consistent. He's definitely available from Seattle. $3 million cap hit. He's really affordable for the Patriots. I don't see it taking much more than a third-round pick to get him, especially since they're letting go Bobby, letting go Russell. They're definitely in a rebuilding phase. I think a guy like Tyler Lockett would definitely be available if you give them the right price.
I know a lot of people want the Patriots to probably draft a wide receiver, except I feel like they should use those draft picks more on the linebackers because that linebacker is abysmal right now. Everybody has basically a free agent there, but I feel like if he gets released by the Cowboys, I think they're going to pursue heavily on Cooper, and if not, they're going to go for Allen Robinson. There's been a lot of speculation that the Patriots have been very heavily interested in Allen Robinson and that they've been doing their due diligence and doing a lot of research on him and trying to make contact to get him in New England.
Speaking of New England and free agency signing guys, a couple of tough decisions are going to be made in the upcoming days, especially revolving around guys Trent Brown and J.C. Jackson. Are either of them going to get the tag? And if they don't, where's their ideal landing spot outside of New England?
I mean, the tag deadline has already passed, so neither of them are going to get the tag. But I feel like if Trent Brown wants to stay in New England, he has that option open, and they could sign him to a new contract. J.C. Jackson is definitely out the door. He is going to be in the 15+ mil range. New England is not going to pay him that much money. But another incoming free agent for the Patriots, who a couple of them are interesting. McCourty, Slater, guys who are at the tail end of their careers but still playing at elite level at their positions. I feel like New England will try and retain them, but the linebacking core is gone at this point. They're not going to re-sign Hightower. They're not going to re-sign Collins. I feel like Bentley's also out the door. They're going to utilize this draft to try and get more linebacker depth and prospects there.
Yeah, that's why I think that we could get our receivers through either free agency or trades. That's why I like Lockett. I like a guy like Robbie Anderson, who could fit that deep threat role if we do lose Nelson Aguilar. And then maybe like a later round receiver like Kyle Phillips from UCLA. He's not exactly, he doesn't like fly off the page in terms of like speed or athleticism or anything like that. But he's like, I watched this film. He reminded me a lot of Julian Edelman. He ran a lot of like the short like drag routes, and he would just catch the ball and like spurt forward for like 4 yards, get the first down, move the chains, just do whatever he can to get the ball forward. And I think that could fit in perfectly with the Belichick scheme. And that's why I think we could take him like a day 3 type guy, Kyle Phillips from UCLA. Keep an eye out for him.
I mean, possibly the only thing left to talk about is Nick Folk and the Patriots pick situation. Nick Folk is another one of the Patriots who's becoming a free agent. So it's down to Quinn Nordine now.
Do they sign destroying? I'm serious. Like,
continue.
If we can sign me for destroying or Papa Meeks would be unbelievable. But if they can't sign Quinn Nordine's fine. He's young. He's probably gonna have a few growing pains this season, but you know.
Hey, who knows? Young kids could be their next wide receiver. I think that's it for today. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I'd like to thank Ben and Baker for being here and talking. We'll do this again sometime.